Should have never gave you niggas money. Nah.
All right. What's up? It's your boy Wuchi, aka the Chocolate Monster, aka the African Wizard. You are now tuned into another episode of the Irregular Show podcast.
Yes, sir.
Before we get into the bullshit, I just wanted to take a moment, give a moment of silence to for our boys Ramili and Tone, who just lost their granny a few days ago.
Appreciate it.
My condolences to
Sorry
both
about
of you.
that, guys.
And just wanted to make sure that, as a podcast, as a crew, that we kind of acknowledge that as well. All right. All right. How you guys feeling?
You know how I'm feeling now.
I know that's one hell of a transition.
Feeling good, feeling great.
It's been a lot of bullshit going on since we last recorded it. I don't even remember the last time we recorded it.
Ooh,
Like
2 weeks ago.
Was it 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks.
It felt like it's been longer.
Yeah, it does.
It definitely.
does.
You weren't here 2 weeks ago.
I was
were you?
here for the Umar one, so it has to be a month ago.
That one was a month
That one was a month ago, yeah.
Oh, y'all
You
had
see how
heat
time
for the
flies?
last one?
Did we?
Did we do
I
what?
think we did, yeah.
Heat for the last one too. Jesus, what y'all in here doing?
No, the heat he got was for.
Oh, no. I misinterpreted. Yeah.
The Umar one was a month ago.
Somebody left him a nice love letter in the comments.
Oh,
section.
man.
Even better was a woman, a black woman.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go
I
ahead.
think she was one of y'all, Nigerian.
Man, what?
Nah, she got that FBA vibe to her.
Oh, no. Don't put her on us.
By the way,
Nope.
by the way,
Foundation of black women.
Oh,
yeah,
my
exactly.
God.
So she was saying this in response to Tone's comment on Dr. Umar doing crack, or smoking crack, and not finishing his school. So here we go. She says, "I know you're the type to not even read this or to respond maliciously because it attacks your coping mechanisms." Parentheses, avoiding growth and change.
Oh my
This is
God.
why black men will always be left alone and seen as a lost cause by black women. Parentheses, eventually. Hence, niggas ain't shit. You're running away from accountability because you're too prideful to see fault in yourself and to see the need to change. If you think any one human being doesn't need to be held accountable for everything they do, then you're lost. If you think any one human is doing everything right and doesn't need to change or grow anything about themselves, you're actively trying to delude yourself to make it easier to live without doing the self-work it takes to be in a healthy relationship. Every person should be held accountable, and to think an entire gender shouldn't be, it's obvious you're delusional and in denial to reality. You monkey ass Negro, you're the type to only have a woman if she's.
She called you a monkey.
Oh, he added this shit. He added this shit.
I had to add some syrup to it.
Yeah.
She said, "You're the type to only have a woman if she's stuck with your baby." Nobody would
Am I
choose.
the only one genuinely confused about the comment?
I'll play the clip. I can play the clip.
We can play the clip.
Nobody
too.
would choose someone like you that's mentally stuck in grade school.
Wow.
Oh, and now that's getting personal now.
Bro, I feel like
keep
she
going.
knows him.
Keep going.
If you feel offended by this, parentheses, she loves these. That rising feeling like you need to respond and insult me or you'll be left feeling like a bitch, then that means that what I said hit home. If you feel like this, before you respond, please reread everything I said multiple times and realize this is reality.
I think you need to rewatch it. You feel me? Like shit.
I don't understand.
So-
I don't understand.
And I just feel like, is this the same clip that she's responding to? I'll play the clip. I'm just kind of like, damn, that was a lot. That was a read, but you would think like,
Yeah.
let me.
She was dropping bars, man, trying to get me locked up, man. That's crazy.
But I don't understand. It wasn't like specific to what was I don't understand.
Nah,
maybe Tone. dated her in the
That's how them FBA people be. You know what I'm saying? Like
man.
they just
What's
man.
the
they behave like
Foundational Black American.
they behave like Russian
Tariq
bots.
Nasheed
You
coined
know what I'm
it.
saying? You say one thing, and then you might be like, I don't like coleslaw. That's why you Africans got sold into. You know, like, you just like, yo, what are we talking about? The same thing?
Yeah, because I'm listening to you and I'm like,
Hold on, let me play
What
the
is
clip.
she
Let me
talking
let me
about?
let me play the clip. Or is my Bluetooth connected to this?
She just mad she don't have my baby yet. You feel me?
You would put a baby in someone like that? You would actually. I'm not even so
yeah, I
you-
ain't looking. You feel me? I-
She's all right looking.
Tone, did you used to date her or something?
No, I don't have no
It
recollection.
sounded like they.
I plead
It
the
sounded
fifth.
like she know him somehow.
Yeah,
I
you
plead
probably,
the fifth.
That was real personal.
broke her heart or
All right,
something.
here we go.
man.
Here's the
Sound
clip.
like
Here's the
it.
clip.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's hear the clip.
There we go.
Find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be your man. You ain't got to work or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back. I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality. We created that. And then we want to act like we didn't play a role.
We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection.
I want to approach it with some nuance, but I do have to lead it with this. A lot of that is some all right? Brothers have been standing on their square for a minute, and the problem is a lot of these chicks pick the wrong type of dude. Like Umar be saying, oh, well, you know, we need accountability amongst black men. How about some accountability with your school? About that, you feel me? Smoking all that dope, man. Like, bro, come on now, bro. Like, that's you get this goes, let me smash your cookies, conscious stripper. Like, just shut the fuck up with that. I'm tired of lecturing black men on what we need to do. As the only black American male in the room that's on the podcast.
Post about children.
Yeah, bro.
It looks like an episode of Boondocks.
It does. That's what I'm saying, bro.
So much. I'm like,
his whole life is an episode of Boondocks, bro. Like, come on. This dude.
I'm about to go and like go through the irregular show on the internet just to see.
There's some clip. Y'all got some clips on there, man. There's some funny shit, man. I'm telling you.
That's funny as shit.
But it's like, you got to know about Umar to know what I'm talking about. Like, this dude is so irresponsible, but he's trying to lecture all of us about how to live and shit. It's like, bro, you smoking up all the school money. Where's the fucking school? It's been like damn near a decade since this school been built. Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, super pro-black, mystical Kwanzaa. Like, bro, get to, like, nigga, build the school, motherfucker, and stop lecturing people. Like, bro, get your house in order, bro. Like, that shit is so goofy.
No, I know exactly what you were talking about, because I followed that shit for years, and he keeps blaming the fact that the school is not completed yet on the HVAC.
Yep.
And then before that, he said he came up with different excuses. First, he said the white people didn't want to sell his school to him because they knew what he wanted to do with it. Then he said something about he hired some engineers, and then like they flaked out on him. But like there are other black engineers. By the way, we don't have a lot of those who own their own company, but whatever, in the country. So, like, a couple of them reached out to him, and he was, like, not responding. So he's been coming up with various different excuses. Lord Jamar tried to hook him up with his father-in-law, who has his own school in, I think, in New York or something like that. And they did, like, some kind of episode or something, I think, on Lord Jamar's podcast. And Lord Jamar was trying to put him on. Like, hey, let me link you with my father-in-law. He's done this before. It's taking you a minute to do this. Talk to somebody who's actually done it, you know. He can give you some advice. And Umar Johnson was just like, nah, nigga, I don't need
exactly. Yeah, bro.
I don't need no advice.
Yeah,
so it's just like, so, and he's been promising this school since what, 2019?
Yep.
Since at least 2019.
Yeah.
No, 2009. What did I say, 2019? No. 2009. It's been like 2009 since he's been saying he's going to do this school. And he bought a building. Right, but there's still nothing going on. So every time he'll be like, he always has some kind of, is the Illuminati trying to stop him, and the white folks don't want.
Yeah,
then he'll blame. Then sometimes he'll blame black folks and say the coons don't want us.
Yeah, you niggas don't support or whatever.
One time he said the school didn't open because somebody threw a stone through the window. Anyway, but so back to the main thing. So what do you have to say to what that young lady?
I'll say for the young lady, it's okay. I'll be over there Sunday. But, I mean, in all seriousness, though, she didn't listen to the whole episode, man, because I proceeded after that little expose or whatever, I proceeded to go into how black men and women need to be held accountable. So she didn't hear the whole thing, and that actually proves the point of the brother side of the argument. You know what I'm saying? Where the women just gung-ho, fuck that nigga, he's a bitch, kill him, get him. You know, it's that type of shit. It's sad, man. We live in a really sick world, man.
I think even without the whole episode, it's like the things she said, it doesn't seem like it's for the clip that we all just listened to.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Oranges,
it was just like a lot. And I think, again, kind of like the whole thing with my cousin, I think maybe it's something where she had a separate experience with somebody
bleeding
else,
over.
maybe earlier that day or the day before or something like that, just previously. And once you internalize that kind of interaction, like anything else that you see just kind of seems like an attack on you or like an extension of that interaction that you had.
Yeah.
So it just seems like she's been holding that in and it's for somebody else, but it just happened to, you're the face that happened to.
Yeah. And since you mentioned that, since we're talking about a dear brother, her brother actually, but yeah, we're talking about him and a comment he made on IG. I think it was about love hoarding, and I had misinterpreted what he said because I thought he was attacking men, similar to how this woman thought I was attacking women. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't doing that. We had a clarification and whatnot, and I realize now what brother was saying. Just right now, he's like, yo, it sounds like you have smoke for somebody else and you're bringing it to a new situation. And I'm used to dealing with a lot of people that love bashing men. So I assume that that's what he was doing and he wasn't doing that. So, I have to accept that. But I wonder if the woman who left that paragraph, that expose, that book, that treatise, like Martin Luther nailing it to the wall or some shit. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if she would do the same thing like I just did. I'm not trying to virtue signal, but I'm just saying.
It's very possible. And that's the way it reads to me. All of that shit, like reading about you, like, fam, this is just like a few seconds of a clip. You know nothing about this man.
Exactly.
And his choices. Like, for example, you probably don't know that he likes white women.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
God.
So you just like, from this clip have assumed.
Oh Lord Jesus! You got me.
But I also think,
Miss Ann.
going back to that interaction with my cousin, I also think maybe a reason why you interpreted what he was saying, even though it was like gender neutral at the time, I think is because the whole Keke Palmer thing was happening at that time as well.
It sounded like a response.
I think he posted the clip conveniently because that's what was going on.
Yeah.
But then again, he's not responsible for how people interpret, that clip.
Yeah.
But that's also something I wanted to talk about. Not really just like Keke Palmer. She's just like the intro to the thing. Yeah. But because that situation, right, it led to something else. So for those of you who've been sleeping under a rock, what happened was Keke Palmer, she has a baby. She has a baby, right? Daughter? She has a daughter? Son? Sorry, she has a son. She has a son. She has a son. She has a boyfriend. She has her son.
She used to have a boyfriend.
Had. My bad.
Damn.
As of the time, she still had the boyfriend. Maybe
did
she
the
still
right
does.
thing.
I don't know.
Like shit.
But so that child that she has, that son is with said man. She went to an Usher concert.
An Usher concert?
Yeah. Usher baby. And there were a lot of other women there too. Celebrities, artists, all that kind of shit. And so she went there and Usher came up to her and was serenading her, had his hand on her hips, and she was just like she was blushing and shit. And like when she got up, she turned around. Usher was just like staring at her ass like crazy, like he was zoned in, like a very focused man.
That's the baby weight. You got a little bit bigger.
So the way it was going was kind of like, people were like, man, before people even chimed in, her boyfriend and the father of her child came on Twitter and was like, he said something about the dress. Yeah. Which I'm like, nigga, that's not the problem. That's not what you have an issue with. It's definitely not the
throwing
dress.
it on him.
I think he just didn't want, and that's the first fuck up. He didn't want to like go out all the way. But like, if you're not gonna say what it is that's really on your mind, then don't say anything at all. So he tried to make it about the dress.
She meditating.
Clearly, the problem is not the dress. We know the problem is not the dress. It was everything else going on in that video, where it's like, you have a boyfriend, you have a son, you're a mother, and this man who is not your boyfriend is like, it was like there were no boundaries. Essentially, it was like she was acting like a groupie. That is what that clip looked like. So there were a lot of attacks on him by black women, and then on the other hand, you had black men who were like, no, like this shit is straight up disrespectful. Like, at what point do we like draw the line between having fun? I mean, the other clips too, where you see Usher took his shirt off on the screen and she was gasping and shit, and she was like zooming in on his nipples and shit.
Nasty word.
No, don't do that.
Which is another thing, and it's like, have some decorum. Right?
Nipple play.
So it started a whole conversation about men being controlling. The ladies were like, men are being controlled, they're insecure, da. And then men, and I think this is the best part about the conversation, because a lot of men that I saw were like acknowledging the fact that he shouldn't have brought that shit to Twitter, first of all. Shouldn't have made that public. But then after that, you're like, no, we understand where he's coming from because like this shit is not, it's not cool. Nobody wants to see their girl, especially not the mother of their child.
With a newborn.
Moving this, newborn or no newborn, moving like this.
She's like, nope.
With another man.
Y'all niggas
right?
wrong.
And because this is, you know.
These niggas ain't shit, though.
I think it would be interesting to get the take of the ladies. Kelechi is not going to be joining us today, but she did send in a voice note stating her opinion. And then right after we play her clip, Cece, I want to get your. I can tell you have thoughts.
Yeah,
already.
a lot of thoughts.
All right,
I'm on the brain
it.
frame.
So my take on the whole Keke Palmer incident is I think there should be boundaries, but I also think there should be a level of respect. I think both partners need to learn to respect each other. And I feel like if he had an issue with what she was doing, there's no need to take it to social media. I think social media plays too much of a role in people's relationships these days. Yeah, there should be boundaries, but I also think he's looking at it from the perspective of a married couple. And because they're not married, she's probably feeling like she doesn't really have to answer to anyone, which is what most people in relationships feel like. As opposed to if you're married now, you care a lot more about what your partner thinks, feels, and how you're representing the family. Even like with the outfit, listen, I think at the end of the day, how you meet people, you kind of have to accept them that way. It's nice if, you know, during relationships or as things progress, people start feeling like, okay, I shouldn't do this, but it's not something that you can just put on people and expect them to just change. So I think she's kind of always been this way. I don't think she's doing anything new. So that's my take on the whole boundaries thing. I think there should be mutual respect between the both of them.
Okay. All right, so Cece, what do you have to say about the situation in general?
First of all, there's nothing wrong with her dress. There's nothing wrong with her dress, first of all.
Okay.
Secondly, I agree to disagree. And my boyfriend and I had to have this conversation because we had to have the conversation. Because it's also like a restaurant in Miami where men very seductively, you know what I'm talking about? They very seductively feed the women. And my boyfriend sent me a clip and he was like, if you ever, and I had to make it very clear, I can respect your wishes. I can respect you and disagree with everything that you have going on. So my love and respect for you, I would not put myself in that situation. However, I firmly disagree that you should be bothered with that. That's just me. And that's because, like, I don't know, like, if my man went to Hooters, if my man went to the strip club, if
Hooters is not the same thing.
I feel like Hooters is the same
Are
thing.
the girls feeding me wings?
Are you really going for the wings?
Yes.
You're not going for
Hooters have some.
wings.
They have like an expansive flavored palette.
No. Okay, so then how is that any different than like, okay, I'm going to go see Usher. You going to go see Usher or you going to go see Usher? Like, I'm going to go see Usher. How is she like?
If you're at the Usher concert and you're zooming in on his nipples, obviously, Hooters does not balance out.
So when the girls is giving you the wings and they walk away, ain't nobody zooming in on their ass and their titties?
No. Especially not if I go with you.
We there for the wings.
Wait, hold on. If I'm there with you, if I go with you, especially if I go with you, Hooters is not a boys' night out type thing unless you're really on some fuck shit, right? It's like, babe, let's go grab some wings at Hooters, and I go with my girl. Right?
I don't know why you would take your girl to Hooters though.
But why wouldn't you take your girls to Hooters?
If you're there for the wings.
Nah,
because you're not there for the wings.
Well, I want to try.
Going alone though. That's if you going alone.
They have a nice mango habanero, and I like their dragon teriyaki. So I want to go. I want to take you to Hooters.
All I'm saying is,
and besides, your nipples don't be showing at Hooters.
I guess. I guess.
Okay.
All I be saying is like those type of conversations you need to have before the situation arises. And if in that situation she's like, nah, I'm gonna go anyway, then don't be in your fifis on the internet. Like you be in your fifis when she come back home and you have that conversation at home. Because what made it even worse is that it was the fact that he's like, oh, and she's a mother. I'm a mother. I have that exact same dress. Well, I have a dress very, very similar. When me and Levi went to New York, my dress is sheer, my cheeks was out, like midi dress. It was the length was appropriate, but like the bodysuit portion of it was very like clearly
revealing.
It was very revealing. So it's like would I wear that dress without my boyfriend? Yes, because to me, it's just a fucking dress. It's just a dress. I'm going to get gawked at in the dress with you, just like I'm going to get gawked at in the dress without you. Like, if you're going to get gawked, you're going to get gawked. There's nothing you can do about it. So, but like, from his perspective, it's like that he felt like that's disrespectful and that's emasculating. I do feel like it's insecure. However, it's not my space and not my place to be like, oh, because I think that you're being insecure, I'm going to go do it anyway. I, as a person who do believe that you should have some level of respect and boundaries in your relationship, even if I disagree with you, if you are telling me that bothers you, I then have to ask myself, is that worth my relationship? If it is worth my relationship, fuck it. Go ahead and go do you, have a great time. It is not a fight. It's not a hill that I want to die on. Therefore, I just wouldn't put myself in that situation. We had the similar conversation about like dancing. Like if I go to a club and a guy's dancing on me, like, all right, cool. When I'm done dancing, I'm going to turn around and be like, oh my God, thank you so much for the dance. And I'm going to go about my business. Like, I don't think of it as Are you
receiving that dance as you're in a relationship?
I've dated people where like I've gone out and I've danced on other people and then they'll like, but we refer to the type of people that I used to date as well. And then, I'll go back to them people and they'll be like, oh, you want to dance like that on them? Cheeks getting clapped like a motherfucker when you get home. Because for some people, that is like a form of, that is a turn on. But if it's not your guy thing, then like just don't
I
do
have
it.
to say that is like some real cock shit. Like, but like these guys,
Adam 22 behavior.
like these guys under gangsterism and like alpha maleism, because it's just like
this word is.
That's like, why is your dick hard? Because another nigga was. Your girl was rocking somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Cockholes is the whole thing, though. Cockholes is.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but that's what it is. But you see, is the packaging. Is what I'm talking about. The packaging is nasty.
I'm always here for the nuance. I'm always here to like be like, but
the nut
because those things do exist. So yes, I've dated people who didn't care because they were like, I know you're not out here cheating on me. I know you ain't out here kissing on nobody. It's a dance. It's not a big deal. When you come home, I'm clapping them cheeks anyway. You my girl. It don't matter what the fuck you got going on. Woo 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 out the bam. And then I have people who are like, absolutely the fuck not. You ain't even got no new friends up in this bitch.
All right, the greatest mind fuck that women have performed on men is convincing them that they're insecure because they have boundaries when it comes to activity with the opposite sex.
I agree.
Right, that's the greatest mind fuck, because so many times men will have an issue with something, but because they don't want to have to fight those allegations of being insecure, they'll just be like, all right, I'm cool. And that is the best way they can disguise it. Oh, you're coming back to me. Let me fuck you. But if that is your response, again, that is some cuckery. It doesn't matter that you have on a do-rag and you're doing it. It's just like you're turned on by that kind of sensual sexual activity between your girl and another man. And so you want to put the weight of that in her back. But still, it's like you're turned on by it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I hear some shit like that, I'm just thinking you're very fucking trifling. I'm not thinking, boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, come over here. No, fuck no. So,
and
again, back to this thing.
It just depends.
The issue for me is not even the dress. And I want to have a larger conversation about being controlling versus boundaries.
Nah, it ain't the
It's not the dress. It's everything else.
It was everything
else. Everything else around that. Right?
And that's
because
what made, he fucked himself up.
Who did?
The boyfriend fucked himself up, because had he came out the gate and was just like, first of all, not saying it in public, but had he come out the gate and was just like,
and said what was truly bothering him,
which was like my girlfriend gawking over Usher and Usher gawking over my wife in a way that I felt like was inappropriate, and now has been displayed. Sexual dancing, and now has been displayed all over the internet, and I also have to deal with the backlash of that, and my homies coming to me being like, yo, you see your girl with Usher, like that is valid. That is valid. But what men do not do is that they'll go around and say the other thing, which is like, you shouldn't dress like that, you shouldn't look like that, you're a mom, you shouldn't be out here like that, and that's what I'm saying.
If you went, and that's what we've talked about, what masculinity is on this podcast, right? And we said, regardless of what culture, tradition, whatever part of the world you're in, masculinity is about projecting strength, right? We agree on that. Everything else like muddies the water, right? when you come from it, when you're operating from a place of fear, that's when you get that nonsense, because you're in your head like, okay, how do I like if I say it about Usher, if I make it about the other man, then I seem like, but maybe if I make it about the dress, you get what I'm saying, and then you end up being dishonest with yourself and with the world. Right? You fucked up there. Secondly, like we've said already on this podcast, you shouldn't have made that shit public. That is between you and your girl. There wouldn't be all these trending topics. People wouldn't have your name in their mouth. People would be trying to look up because then it got nasty. They started looking up his net worth. Actually, they didn't even look it up. They just assumed that because they don't know who he is, she's the breadwinner. Later on, because this was going on for like at least a week. Later on, they looked up his net worth, and apparently he's like some football guy or something. He makes a lot of money. He makes like 6 figures, apparently. So he's still in like what, 2% of the American population. Anyway, that's besides the point. But you've opened yourself up to like all these strangers and all these different opinions, and a woman is not going to respect you when like she sees that kind of behavior. Nope. All you had to do was just maybe and maybe this nigga was like having to deal with shitty diapers and vomit and shit. He's like
probably
that.
mad.
And look at Usher, this nigga got herpes, and he's like, he got his arm around my girl like that, and might have played a part, but all you had to do was just like play it cool. If you needed to talk to somebody about it, it should be your boys. If you have a group chat, keep it there or call them or something. If you needed to get it off your chest, but wait for her to come home and address that shit accordingly. Keep it in house. Yep. You know what I'm saying? That's all you had to do. Yeah. But then he did the weak thing and like went out there and was just saying all kinds of nonsense, and it's just like, no, absolutely not. And by the way, I do think that she was being very inconsiderate in that moment. I do think that what she did crossed boundaries. It's clear her guy had issues with it. But just in general, you know certain behaviors. When you're in a relationship, you have to be conscious of the fact that the way that you move outside is a reflection, whether the person is there or not, is a reflection on that relationship. Like if that nigga was sitting right next to her, would she have done that? Yeah. And if she would have, then that's like that's bigger disrespect. That's the biggest fuck you. I'm sitting right next to you, and you would do that? Because I think even in that situation, if he was sitting right there, it's not up to him to come and be the buffer between her and Usher. Right, that's not his responsibility. It's up to her to handle that. It's up to her. It's up to her to handle that respectably, and at least give Usher a kind of look. Or there's a way that you will be unreceptive to like his advances, where it's like he'll get the message like, okay, you're with your man, like, all right, cool. Because I feel like Usher is also the kind of nigga to try a nigga like that. Like he'll eyeball the nigga and like be like, yeah, that Boondocks episodes it exists for a reason. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my take on it. What do you guys think?
Fear woman for real, bro. I'm telling you, man. Women are very, very interesting beings. God placed them on earth for a reason, but
to destroy a man,
for chaos.
But
chaotic reasons
for destruction.
Their mentality is like, it's astonishing. Like, the way they process things, right? I mean, like the way they process things is like so amazing. Speaking to the dude, I don't know his name, John Robert or something like that.
Did you just make up a name?
I don't know what his name is.
Cook
John Roberts.
I want to
John Robert. Those are two first.
He look like a John Roberts. He do look like a John.
Carry on.
John Robert the third.
To something that Cece was saying, or I think we were saying about where if he had approached it and just like spoke his mind from the get-go. And just said what it was instead of just going around the corner and like, you know that meme, right? Oh, don't beat around. Oh, that was Sophia. I mean,
if you want to talk to me, talk to me direct. Don't go through the corner.
Talk to me direct.
Talk to me direct. Yeah. I think he would still receive the same backlash, regardless.
I agree.
This is me. So I don't think he changes anything. And this is the point I wanted to make. Like him coming to social media. Yes, we all agree it wasn't the smart move. It wasn't the right thing to do. But do we know if behind the scenes he had been constantly maybe telling her about these issues? This is probably not the first time this has happened. I want to believe that this is probably not the first time this has happened. And he has gotten to a point where he's fed up. And it's like, look, if you're not going to listen to me, and this is what I'm talking about, what Kelechi was saying, something about respect, like if you're in marriage, maybe somebody else would have respected you more as opposed to a relationship. I don't think it matters. the number one thing is respect. Relationship, marriage or not. If you don't respect me, then you're just gonna do whatever it is that pleases you.
And I guess my thing is that, like, if it happened multiple times, then you already have your answer. So my whole thing is, like, why do you get into a relationship with me and then expect me to be a different person?
Yep.
Right.
So if she was Keke, and I think she even said this, if you are who you are before the relationship, who I was is what hooked you in the first place.
Right.
Who I was is what got you to put that baby in me in the first place. And now you upset that I'm behaving the same way that I've been behaving the entire time.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Like, so where is the inconsistency? The inconsistency now lies with the fact that you as a man feel as though I got a baby. We ain't even husband and wife. Like,
Wait, but hold on. Maybe he felt that way because when he was like toasting her, when he was going after her, that was the way like she would look at him when he was like, when they were dancing. Maybe it reminded him of when he was shooting the shot.
Okay.
And he just thought, okay, I thought this was an Austin, but
Personal.
like you're not doing it with Usher, baby, and you know what I'm saying, and I have to watch that shit.
But that's when women say, so women do not, I feel like some women do gaslight men into believing that they are being insecure.
Oh,
Some.
the kings of gaslighting.
Okay.
Oh my god.
The majority.
People's gas.
Kings of gaslighting. But that right there is the why. Because you just said, so you was looking at me like that when we was getting together, and now Usher serenading you and you giving Usher that same look, and now that's the problem. So just say that you're jealous. You're having an insecure moment. But that's
I ain't go for that, man.
Why it gotta be all that? Why it gotta be all
It's not the
that?
same thing though.
Why does it have to be jealousy and insecurity?
It's not a jealousy and insecurity thing.
Black women,
You
black men.
you calling it out because this is your girl.
Why
right?
did you, wait, hold on,
This is your
Cece,
woman.
why, hold on, bro. Before you go, I want to ask you, why were those your words of choice? Why didn't you just say you feel disrespected? Why
Right.
gotta be
Because you gotta
jealousy and
twist the knife,
insecurity?
bro. What you
Because
mean? Black men.
I don't know, because I feel like everything, and I think this is where when you're talking about like women just process things differently.
Yeah.
I'm a heavy on the intent portion. So even when my boyfriend was like, you'll go out and do something that will emasculate men on purpose, my thought process, my intention is not going into this thinking that I'm going to emasculate my man. I'm thinking I'm going to a concert to have fun. Yes, Usher is fine as shit. We're not in a relationship and I'm like, oh shit, I'm blind to fine ass niggas now. I can't see fine ass niggas now. That's unrealistic. That's silly.
No.
But for me as a female, it's like, okay, if I go and Usher serenading me or whatever, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna play into it. We're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna kiki. That's it. I'm about to go have a drink. I'm about to go back out with my girls. We're gonna gamble. It literally ends at that. It's not like, I don't ever, at least me for a female, I don't ever be in a situation and think like I did not get dressed with the intention of Usher to serenade me. I did not go sit in this section and think, oh my God, I'm trying to get Usher's attention to serenade me. When Usher is serenading me, I'm not like, oh my God, my man is gonna be watching this and he gonna be so upset about Usher serenading me. I need to sit down. Like I guarantee at no point from start to finish was there ever an intention about going, and I feel like that's the difference. I feel like when you're seeking out to be a disrespectful person, you will do things that are intentionally and inherently disrespectful. If I'm going out to cheat on my man, I'm doing that with the intention and on purpose. It's a purpose thing. But if I'm just going out to have a good time, I'm going out to have a good time. If my man go to a bar, my man fine as shit, and my man smelling good, and my man looking fine, and I don't know, maybe I'm talking to my friends, and my man talking to his friends, and some girl come and be like, oh, hey, baby, let me buy you a drink. Shorty don't know.
Sure.
Shorty don't know that I'm his girlfriend.
Right.
Shorty don't know. You know what I'm saying?
You gonna let her buy a drink?
Hell yeah, bitch. Tell that bitch to get you a lemon drop and give it to me. And I'm going to be like, thanks, shorty. And then watch him make out with me. And I'm going to be like, Zeus, sweetheart, thank you so much for the drink. I appreciate
and
you.
that's the difference between
that's the difference
between men and women.
Because I want a girl to
Have you guys realized that have you guys realized that, like, maybe I don't say every woman, but like you've probably come across women who have expressed the same sentiments. The fact that
We don't want toys that other people don't want to play with.
You borderline flirting with another woman turns them on.
Turns them on.
Like they like that shit, and they want to see it.
I love that shit.
They want to see it. That's the difference.
Funny,
between,
like it's majority of women. You might think it's just a small.
No, it's
population.
No. They love that shit. They love that shit.
It's literally like I'm gonna let you borrow my toy for a hot second before I remind you that shit's mine.
But do you see, like when they do it, it's feminine and it's nice. But when niggas say, "Oh yeah, come back here so I can give you dick," right? Is that supposed to be masculine? I don't think so.
No.
And so my next question is, and maybe that's part of the problem. You said something that you're not going out thinking that.
Yeah, it's not.
Two things. Maybe the problem is that you're not thinking about it, or two, the problem is that you're not. It's not even something you're supposed to think about. There are just some things that you should.
Yeah.
We expect that you inherently know that. Okay, like the way you know. Right from wrong is the way you should know respect, disrespect, right? And I think if you ask yourself two questions: one, would I be doing this if my man was standing right next to me? Two, how would my man feel if he was like seeing this shit live and direct? If you ask yourself those two questions and you're being honest with yourself, it will serve as a great guide on how to move.
I agree. Because my boyfriend right now, I know that those types of things would really bother him, right? I know when we got together and I like really understood the vibe of like who he was, how he moved, and how he operated in life. My phone is my phone is Fort Knox. My phone is Fort Knox. If I ain't talking to you, you ain't talking to me. You ain't never getting in contact with me ever again. Sorry, not sorry.
As it should be.
Because he set the precedent that he was not that type of person.
Yeah. So if he didn't, you would have had it open.
Because I'm not had it open in the sense that like I'm inviting like bullshit, you know what I'm saying? But like if we're friends and as long as you're respectful, I'm gonna be respectful. Like it's cool. If you hit my phone up and be like, damn Cece, I miss you, let me clap them cheeks, block immediately. But a lot of his mom, for example, is still friends with like her exes and stuff like that. And she's married. So I feel like that can exist in a respectful way, but I still feel like the conversations need to be had. Because if you're not setting the expectation, if you're not saying like in a private setting, like, hey, I know you're about to go out, you look good as shit, I love you, woo, can you please really just like, don't be out here acting like you ain't got no man. Don't act like you ain't got no man, baby. And then she went out there and did it anyway. Okay, you got a little problem. But the expectations still need to be communicated. I feel like,
and
no matter
and
what,
that's where
needs to be communicated.
I have a sort of conflict in my mind regarding that, because I feel like if I have to say that to you before you step out, that relationship has been built on shaky ground. The foundation is not solid. That's just the way that I process it. It might not be necessarily be everybody's reality. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like if you're stepping out and I have to say, hey, babe, like, please don't go out here moving like you don't have a man. If I now kept quiet, what were you going to do? If I didn't say anything, what were you going to do?
That's the last thing I'll ever do.
And why should I have to tell you? So at that point, I already feel like internally, I already feel like that's a violation, right? Two, once I've said it and you go and do it, and this is like the whole thing at this point now. You do it and you come back. Anything short of you breaking up with her, you're fucked up.
You fucked up.
You're fucked up. You're fucked up big time.
Because
the initial fuck up is there, but anything after, because you
super fucked up.
Listen, and again, it brings into that conversation of this men. Maybe sometimes we expect women to be more like us. But women are women and men
never gonna happen,
right? It's never going to happen.
Never.
But I think that what bridges that gap, right?
It's compromise.
It's not just compromise; it's integrity. And integrity is gender neutral.
Yeah,
doesn't give a fuck about whether you're male or female. If you have integrity, you carry on in integrity. You build the relationship in integrity. There are just some holes that naturally they just won't even be there, or if they are, they're just filled. And it's the same way between you and your boyfriend. There are certain things that you just understand inherently. You don't have to have a discussion about that. You just know. And I just feel like it's a problem if you have to sit down and sit your girl down and say, hey, don't be out here moving. And because we're men, we also have to take responsibility, because another question is, well, if this is the kind of woman you bagged, why did you bag her in the first place?
Why you bag her in the first
That's
place?
Why did you bag her in the
That's
first
the
place?
real
And
question.
my whole thing, my whole question is that that means I'm coming for you for porn. I'm coming for you for strip clubs. I'm coming for you for bachelor parties. I'm coming for you for everything.
Wait, before we tackle that,
That'd be my
Corede,
whole
what are you
thing.
about
I
to
was
say?
gonna, I was
Something
gonna,
like
I was,
that.
I was gonna
No,
say,
put a pin in that.
I was gonna say to that point about this is why I was. Why did you bag me in the first place? It could also go to the other person too, like the woman.
how.
Like, why did you settle for this man if you knew this is how he was?
But that's where I'm wondering, like, if that was like, if that was that part in the relationship that's like, we still need to sit down and have a conversation. Because it was a video clip that he played with, like, she was shaking her ass and he was recording it and he posted that. And nothing wrong with that. He had nothing wrong with that, even though you're posting this online for everyone to see. So
that's
everyone
hypocritical.
is hypocritical. So everyone is still gawking at your wife. Everyone's still gonna be in the comments like, "Damn, she shake her ass like that." Ooh. But because you had control over that particular situation, because you were the initiator in that particular situation, you didn't have a problem with it. When it was flipped, and you weren't the person in control of that situation, and she was out there just, I guess, shaking her ass on her own, then that's when it became problematic. So even if, let's say, you bagged her when she was like that, and she, got with you when you was like that, now there's just like, okay, emotions have evolved, and we need to re-sit down and have another conversation. That's all. I know this was something that was cool, and we used to kiki, and it was funny before, but this was really bothering me now, and I may not have gone about it the right way, but can we please sit down and restructure what our relationship and what our boundaries and what this looks like? Because it may have been okay before,
right?
It may have been like, and it can change, right? It can change. Maybe my man don't have a problem with me going and shaking my ass in Miami, and the rule was don't let no dude come behind you and shake your ass. Maybe I was okay with my dude going to a strip club, and I'm like, hey, you can throw the dollars, but you can't do no dancing. And then somewhere, I don't know, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, something has grown where it's like, nah, I really don't want you, and I don't want you to do that at all. Right. Things need to be communicated, and it needs to be communicated consistently.
I agree. Yeah, those conversations need to be had.
It just needs to be had.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I can definitely appreciate that sentiment when you notice that, okay, I didn't do something that I was supposed to initially, and now I'm having to come in and like, have this conversation again. But it's also why it's so important when you're going to relationships is, first of all, don't start anything you can't finish.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? But in order to do that, you need to know yourself first and foremost. Right? Because I do agree that it is like illogical, it's crazy, it's maybe even controlling to be like, okay, I met you like this. So you met a girl at a bar and you ended up cuffing her, she drinks, and then you think, okay, now we're in a relationship and we'll have a baby, so you're just supposed to automatically you're supposed to stop drinking. Meanwhile, this is something that you were doing way before you met me, and I met you like that, and I still fucked with you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a huge issue. If you know that this is the way that this person is, and they've shown you that side of them, and you decided to proceed further or take the relationship seriously to the point where it's like, okay, you're now in a committed relationship. You shouldn't expect that they will just up and change, because no, that might be part of that person's identity. Yeah. And it's usually when stuff like that happens, then it builds resentment, because now somebody feels like, okay, they're being limited, they're being controlled, that like they're not allowed to be. Even if it's something like being so disrespectful out in public, dancing on other niggas, that's something that they used to do. See, what I've learned in my life is that if you tell a woman that you're not comfortable with something, and that conversation takes place for more than like 1 minute, even if it seems like there's a resolution there, she's still gonna go just know, whether you know it or not, she's still going to go and do that shit because she does not agree with you. If we have to have a lengthy conversation about this, there's just no point. So it's up to me to now make that call of if I want to proceed with this relationship or not. Every single time that I've had a problem with something a woman was doing, whether it was the guys that she would like respond to when they texted her, even though as niggas we already know, most niggas, especially your girl is fine, you know that you're not the only one with eyes, and you also know that niggas are grimy. They will try to play the friend zone thing because they're just waiting for their chance. And you could sit there all day and be like, yo, these niggas are trying to blah, blah. If you're having to have a lengthy conversation about it and she's like, she doesn't see where you're coming from, it's cooked. Because again, whether you know it or not, she will continue to entertain that kind of communication with other men. And it applies for other things too. So again, starting off, and that's also why you need to take the time to date and get to know somebody.
Right. And I know, fellas, like it can be hard sometimes because in that situation, speaking to that part about if the conversation has to go for more than 1 minute, or it has to be a lengthy conversation that you have to reassess the relationship. It can be hard sometimes because, especially if it's a beautiful woman that you're dealing with, like
especially if it's a woman that you love.
She's like you love her, like she's the most amazing thing. It's like those feelings. It's hard to just kind of like walk away, but sometimes you just have to make those decisions because
you have to prevent further.
Right,
It's better
like,
you do it now than you're 5 years in and you're having to deal with this shit all over again.
Like my respect matters. Like my respect is for real. Like, and I'm expressing it to you, and I want to let you know that I need that same energy from you. And if you can't give me that energy, then it's better for me to just walk away. As hard as it may be, being that you're a fine woman and all, but beauty fades.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
and I'm not going to sit here and say it's the easiest decision.
Yeah, it's not.
But the best, strongest decisions in the world are never really the easiest.
They're never easy.
Most
Dudes
times they're
need to
not the
understand
easiest.
that.
So I'm going to, and I'm glad that you added that bit of context. So yes, it will be easier for me and Korede and Tone to say that because we're not in the relationship with you. You're the one with the attachment. You're the one with the feelings. Maybe you've gone through, a bunch of other things, and maybe you might decide, okay, I'm not comfortable with this, but I'm not ready to free this relationship. That's up to you as well. I'm just saying, like anything that happens after that, just
it's fair game.
Take it like that. Sometimes you might have to, maybe that's your compromise in the relationship. Okay, she fulfills me in all these other ways, but like when it comes to this, she's like not budging, and I'll allow it because everything else that she's doing, like it supersedes this behavior.
Let me tell you some wise words too.
That's up to you. But
I don't mean to cut y'all
Please.
off, but this is gonna sound crazy, but what happens after you trust a woman is your fault, my nigga. It is what it is. That sounds fucked up, but it's true. I'm telling you right now. It sounds crazy. It sounds like some disgruntled man, but I'm not upset. She like, yo. But this the thing though. We are expecting. How do I say this? I'm not trying to bash women. I don't want to come off as that, but we're expecting women who don't see we're expecting traditionalism from
non-traditional women.
Yeah, and that makes no sense. That is SBE. That's shame, blaming, explaining, a waste of time.
Which is why you need to have the conversation.
Yes, that's why you got to talk to her to figure out who she is.
You have to talk to them.
Because dudes are expecting to uphold 1950s, 1800s psychology.
I disagree. You should not have the conversation. Just leave them alone.
Yes,
leave them alone. You're not going to talk her into being traditional.
You cannot.
That's what we're talking about. Like maybe generations of her grandma might have passed that to her mom, and then her mom gave her that non-traditional.
There's no way,
and that's what she's been taught, or that's what she's internalized. You don't just have a conversation about that.
Yeah, that ain't good.
All of a sudden, you go from non-traditional to traditional. What? No,
it don't work.
No, if you're non-traditional, and I don't want a non-traditional woman, instead of, and that is again a big problem. That's why it becomes control versus boundaries.
Yeah.
Right? When you know that these are the circumstances that you're faced with, this is who this person is, you still decide to proceed, and now you're trying to force change the terms of her being. Yeah. She's made that decision to be who she is. If you know that it is against your values and your principles, leave her alone.
Exactly.
There is no negotiating with women, not verbally.
Nah.
None whatsoever.
She not gonna agree, but let me hit you with this. This is why men have to understand, bro. If you want better out of the women, you have to set the precedent from a position of power. It is what it is. You have to change the environment, because trying to appeal to reason and try to sneak in things or what the beta male orbiter does, like what her boyfriend did. Oh, well, that dress, all that little weak shit, fuck that. You tell her, look, if you're not going to get with this, we done. And do that to every single woman, don't matter how beautiful she is, do that shit. And if
do that to the women in your family too.
Exactly. Do it to women in your family too. That's how you train for it. Yeah. But you got to tell your mama no, or shut the hell up, mom. Out of respect. Out of respect.
I didn't tell my mama. I don't know how you say shut the fuck up respectfully, but anyway, carry on.
No, not shut the fuck up, shut the hell up. There's a difference. But nah, what it is it's training the man to understand, look, you don't hate the women. Right. You're not upset with them. Exactly. It's just you have enough self-respect, enough standard to be like, okay, I'm not going to deal with this. Yeah. And that will bleed into every aspect of your life. Because the problem is, the reason why the women just act how they want to is because there's too many simp men. That is the problem, period.
Amen.
That's the problem. So if enough men get on code, we can fix this shit. And they won't be doing it because they won't have nowhere to go. If they want dick, they can't get it because he don't want to give it to them. But that's like asking, Jesus to come back. It ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna keep it a bean. It ain't gonna happen.
Just do that one. Jesus is not coming back.
Jesus is coming back.
Maybe he's not coming back for you.
Let me say come back right now. Let's say that. Let me say that. Let me give a different one. I don't want to offend.
Yeah, give a different angle.
That's like asking the sun not to shine. There you go.
Oh, okay, that's better. Because initially you were floating, then you sunk like that.
I forgot where I was. I forgot.
Yeah. Okay.
Allah Akbar. No, fledge. I got you. But I mean, this ain't hating on women. It's just, or hating on men even. It's just a fact. Like, you're dealing with people who don't have the same value system as you, bro. And you're trying to impose that. That's when the control and the resentment comes in. Like that young lady that left that comment on me, because that's the Keke Palmer energy.
She coming back after what you
exactly.
said.
She coming back. She coming back like Jesus.
When the clip gets posted, I'm gonna tag her.
Oh my God. But anyways, she's gonna do my makeup. No, but anyway, that's the type of energy that we need to have, man. Just being realistic, because you're not gonna change somebody and trying to impose standards and systems on people that don't want it is a waste of fucking time.
It is.
It's a waste of time, bro. Like, the dude knew who Keke was. She said she was a feminist, womanist, whatever the fuck it is. She said she was that. Why the fuck are you expecting it? Why would you even have a baby with her? Because you know she gonna want all the control. So why are you doing it? If you're not comfortable with your woman leading, why the fuck are you? I don't get nigga.